Well, I decided I want to talk about my name a little. So, my birth name. Oh, this music's too quiet. So, my birth name, I don't actually have any qualms with. Like, I know a lot of trans folks out there actively dislike their birth name slash dead name. It has, and like, it has a lot of negative feelings for them because it was a time in their life where they were probably confused and just hated who like how their body was developing and who people expected them to be. I can understand a dead name carrying a lot of negative associations with it. But mine, I'm kind of ambivalent towards it. Like, it's not a bad name. I think it's a really nice name, actually. It's really pretty. Which was kind of the problem. It was a really feminine name. And as I started to grow more into my non binary identity and getting a feel for who I am and who I want to be, the name wasn't naming, I guess you could say. I mean, it was still a nice name, but it just stopped fitting me. And even when I was not quite out yet, I had this little twinge of not really embarrassment, but something just about my name. And once my egg cracked and I started coming into my own more, the name was not doing it for me. Especially when people would ask me, what does your name mean? Because I swear to God, I have no problems with my name until someone asks me what it means. And then it becomes the most embarrassing name I've ever heard in my life. For reference, it means beautiful flower. Doesn't fit me. At least, I don't know, it was too feminine a name for who I'm becoming and who I am and who I want to be. I mean, my birth name carried me really far. It got me through my childhood. I actually liked my name because it was so unique and unusual. At least here in the States. I'm sure in his country of origin it's really common. I mean, my name carried me a long way. The person who had that name carried me a long way. But it was time for her to retire and for Alerin to take the lead. Now, I kind of hemmed and hawed about changing my name for a long time because I actually didn't always want to change my first name. But I knew for a fact I wanted to change my middle name because I felt that name didn't quite fit me. So my middle name was Ruth. Nice name, goes well with my birth name. But I wanted to change it to Frederick because that's the middle name I would have been given had I been assigned male at birth. But after talking with my mom and seeing it, like, our middle names were her only contribution to me and my brother's names, and ditching it would have made her really sad. And I don't want to make my mom sad, so I hyphenated to Ruth Frederick, which honestly probably sounds a lot better. Now, my first name, it... Okay, play the next song. Ah, darn it. Well, I guess we're going without tunes for the rest of the video. I didn't cue the playlist right. But my first name, I was unsure if I wanted to change that. Because aside from when people ask me, hey, what does your name mean? I wasn't embarrassed by it. It's just my name. It's a nice name. I don't hate it. It's just a name. But honestly, I didn't really want to change it for a long time. I just wanted to change my middle name, but I was kind of dragging my feet on that because it's expensive and tedious to change your name. At least in my experience, it is if it's not due to marriage. I'm pretty sure if you're married, the name change process is a little easier, a little less tedious to do. But I'm not married, so here we are. And I knew it was going to be expensive. I knew it was going to be really tedious to change my name on everything and get all my paperwork and stuff in order. So I didn't do it for years. The executives were dysfunctioning. That's the only thing I can say about that. And honestly, it paid off. Because if I had gone ahead and changed my middle name, then years down the road, realized I want to change my first name, and had to do all that shit all over again, I'd have been pissed. So it's kind of good that the executives weren't functioning as they should. They saved me a lot of trouble. For once, ADHD paid off. Now, as for how I got my name, it took about a week to come to fall onto Alerin. Like, as most newly well, at that point I wasn't a newly hatched egg. I'd been out as non-binary for years. But as any trans person changing their name, or just anyone changing their name, is wont to do, I went to babynames.com. Now, I wanted my new name to have similarities with my birth name, just just to make the transition to a new name a little easier on myself. Okay, I can't do this in silence. Just to make the transition a little easier on myself. So it just had 2 criteria. Starts with an A and has 3 syllables. Those were the only requirements for a name. So, funny story, the baby name website I went to, you have to be a member to look through all the names. So I had to fake a pregnancy, essentially. Because they ask you, when's the baby due? And I'm not having a baby. I am the baby. I'm the one who needs a name. So I just made up a date 8 months in the future. Which honestly I feel kind of silly about now. I could have just gone to a different website that doesn't require some kind of membership. But alas, I did not. So here we are, again. Now, even with those criteria, I figured it would narrow it down quite a bit. I had more than 500 names to sift through to find one I liked. Granted, most of them were the same name, just spelled a little bit differently. But yeah, 500 names. It took me 2.5 hours to go through all of them and narrow it down to a top 20. Then from the top 20 to a top 10 to a top 5 until I landed on 3 names I liked. Antero, Alerin. No, wait, that wasn't one of the names. Actually, you know what? I think I botched Antero a little earlier because it was too masculine. No, wait, that was Alias because that was too on the nose. I'm getting off track here. Anyways, so it was down to Antero, Alaric, and Amarin. I nixed Antero because that was a little too masculine. I was trying to go for something more androgynous, or more gender neutral, and Antero was not it. So it came down to Alaric and Amarin. I couldn't decide between the 2 of them because I really liked them both. So I did what I usually do and went, let's just do both the names. Now I'm not going to have a hyphenated first name and middle name because that's really stupid. Like, why would you? Okay, it's not really stupid. I'm sure there's someone out there who did it. But for me personally, that was a bad move. So I combined the names, Alaric and Amarin. It was either going to be Amaric or Alerin. Amaric reminded me too much of the word turmeric. So Alerin it was. Well, is. It's still my name. And it took some getting used to. I've been Alerin for about 1.5 years now, and there's people that have known me my whole life as my birth name and that are still fucking it up. My birth dad especially. My stepdad is surprisingly good at it. And so is my brother once he stopped actively avoiding saying it. My partner caught on almost immediately, like in a week, if that long, she had it down. But that is the origin of my name. I don't know why I felt like making this video. I guess I thought it would be something kind of neat to talk about. Just how names come to be. So now when people ask me what does my name mean, I just have to make something. I can't tell them, oh, I just made it up. I mean, I can, but I would find that personally a little embarrassing. I don't want people to know I made up my name, because then that implies it's not my original name, and I don't want them asking about that name. So when other people ask, hey, what does your name mean? I tell them either I'm not sure, I never looked it up, or I tell them it's related to knowledge and wisdom, which technically isn't a lie. I mean, I Googled my name before I decided to pick it, because, I don't know, I don't want it to be like some kind of turbo slur in another language, or a diaper factory in India or something, just something completely random that I don't want my name associated with. So I did some extensive Googling before I picked Alerin, for all the good it did, because now there's a line of some kind of allergy hypo something or other medication with my name that didn't exist when I decided on it. So hooray, my name has an unwanted association anyway, despite my best efforts. But I'm still going to stick with it. Not only because I refuse to go through the name changing process again, but because I still like it regardless. If you're trans out there, or Enby, or just a cis person who didn't like their name, maybe, and you changed your name, I want to hear your story. I think it could be really cool.